Thank you for joining us on this episode of EideCast. Is This Thing On? Today I'm joined by Jeff Carlson. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So you are relatively new to the team. Tell me, how did you end up with Vern Eide?
Well, I started at Soo Sports, would have been just about 7 years ago.
Okay.
Right at this time of year, actually. So started there, worked there for up until the day that we were merged with Vern Eide.
Okay.
So it's kind of how I ended up here.
Very nice.
Yep.
So I guess settling into it, Soo Sports at Vern Eide Marine. Are you in sales? What is your role?
Yep, in sales. Been doing sales for the whole time. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I do.
Very nice.
Yep.
How did you get into boat sales?
Well, I kind of have a different career path. I was in banking for a number of years. And then, that's kind of gets to be a sales position too. So I always kind of decided that I might as well go try to sell something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw the opening at Soo Sports and jumped at the opportunity to sell something that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Very nice. Yep. Have you noticed much of a change with the merge, or has it been kind of consistent?
It's consistent. Obviously we got some different brands right now. So, from what I sold before to now, I think I picked up a total of 3 different new brands.
Okay.
So, that's been different and rewarding, exciting.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a favorite brand?
well, I personally grew up in Fargo, which is about 50 miles from where Lund is built.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, that's Lund boats were my thing. And that's actually the boat I own. But,
Okay.
So yes, that's the brand I have, but they're all great brands,
Okay. Is there, I'm guessing with being a Lund owner, you probably use your boat for fishing. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Do you feel like there's something that's really stand out with the Lunds when it comes to fishing, or is there something that they kind of all have their own specialty?
They kind of all have their own specialty. Like a Lund boat is built, in Minnesota for, Minnesota type lakes, which, you put them on a roller trailer. A lot of those lakes in Minnesota are shallower, so they're easier to get in and out of on a roller trailer. A lot of them are, you call them duck sloughs or ponds, smaller lakes. So that's kind of what Lund has been, built around, that type of fishing.
Very nice. Do you have a favorite lake that you like to fish on? I know people don't like to share their fishing spots, but is there a specific area?
Yeah, I've grown up since I was a kid. My dad started taking me to Canada when I was a little kid.
Okay.
So I like to go to Canada fishing. So primarily like Lake of the Woods, that kind of, Ontario region.
Okay.
Any lake there, that's my favorite lake. So
very nice. What is your most prized catch that you've had?
I've caught, a number of, 9-10 pound walleyes.
Okay.
Caught a few, larger muskies. So that's kind of what I hang my hat on there.
Very nice. Do you get them taxidermied, or do you?
I do have a couple of them.
Okay.
I have a walleye that I caught a 10 pounder that I caught, and then my wife caught a nice 8 pounder that we have taxidermied. So those are the 2 fish that I have.
Very nice. I'm actually terrified of fish. I grew up camping and fishing. But we'd go to my aunt and uncle's cabin in Wisconsin, and they had some taxidermied fish at an ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
And I saw a muskie for the first time, and ever since then I've been terrified of fish.
Don't want to swim in the water with the muskies?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Just always afraid they're going to nibble on your toes or something.
No. Yeah. I've heard that before. Sure. Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about your job?
I think, my ultimate favorite thing that I think of is I'm selling dreams,
Yeah.
So, I get it what it is, because I saw my dad buy new boats and get excited about it. That was kind of his pride and joy. So I'm kind of helping people, reach that goal.
Yeah.
And you get to shake their hands and hand them a hat, and they're just beaming from, ear to ear.
Yeah.
Excitement that they got their new boat finally, that they worked their life to attain, you know? So
absolutely.
So it's rewarding, to see that side of it. Most people are happy at the end,
Yeah.
So
do you have a lot of people who trade in boats, or who are kind of upgrading, or do you have a lot of first time boat buyers essentially?
It's kind of a mix of both.
Okay.
We take in a number of trades, so people are upgrading or just trading in the same thing they had, getting the same thing newer, we start off with, even the used boat market. So, you might sell the guy a 10-year-old boat, and then, a couple, 3 years later, he's trading in that boat for a new boat. So you can kind of see the transition of of people moving up in the boating world and
Yeah.
of models and, age of the boat, etc. So,
Like, as someone who grew up boating, I would love to own a boat someday. We don't necessarily have a pickup right now to do that, but like the thought of owning a boat is almost like overwhelming. Is there something that you can advise to somebody if they want to get a boat, but they don't necessarily know where to start?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you walk into a showroom, you look around, some of the prices, they're up there, and I always tell a lot of people that might be their fourth or fifth boat that they're buying this new boat. So you start off smaller and get into it, learn what how to operate the boat, on and off the trailer, something in the used market, and then you slowly move up, and then by the time you get to a certain point in your life, you have equity built into that boat. And you're able to, per se, get your dream boat, So there's a lot of nice boats, in that, $10,000 range that you can get into and they'll get you out on the water and get you fishing for sure.
Nice. So obviously we sell fishing boats and take in fishing boats. Is that the only type of boat that will do a trade? Or do we accept others?
So kind of Vern Eide's philosophy is that, they'll take in anything on trade. So, we do have a power sports division, we have cars obviously and different things. So, we take in campers, we'll take in motorcycles, four-wheelers, cars, anything on a boat. So it does make it easier for some people to get into it because maybe you did have a camper and you decide, hey, the camping life isn't for us. Come look at a boat and, we'll take your camper in and trade on a boat. So make it easy on the customer.
Very nice. So you're from North Dakota originally. How did you end up in Sioux Falls?
Well, I was born in Sioux Falls, and my dad got a job in Fargo when I was 6 years old. So he transferred up there. So I went to school all the way and graduated high school in Fargo. Okay. And then once again, my dad got an opportunity to come back to Sioux Falls. And that's what he did. So I went away to college at South Dakota State. Okay. And then it ended up graduating from SDSU. And then my family's all originally from here. So just naturally ended up back here.
Very nice. Is that where you were working in the banking industry as well as in town here?
Yep, in Sioux Falls here. Yep. Okay. So worked at a couple different banks here in town.
Very nice. Is there anything that you've taken from previous jobs with you that have kind of helped you today?
Yeah, I mean, I even tell this to my kids or a lot of younger adults is that, even when I was a bagger at a grocery store, I had somebody walk up to me. I didn't know the person at all. And I started talking to them. Yeah. So I just had to develop that quick rapport and walk the, groceries out to the car. So even since 14 years old, all my jobs, I feel, have kind of helped me get to where I am at today, to have the, just the comfort level to be able to talk to people and strike up a conversation. And that's what a lot of sales are, is just, just being a person and helping them through the process. Yeah. And that's helped me through the years. So
nice. Love that. So you mentioned your parents. What about your family now?
Yeah. So married, and I have 3 kids. So I have, she will be a senior this coming year and will be a freshman. And then I have a first grader. Okay. So yeah, so I have 2 girls and a boy. So always on the run, softball fields, fishing, soccer, you name it, we're there. So busy.
Yeah, I believe that. Yep. Do your kids enjoy spending time fishing with you, or is that something that's kind of like, okay, we're going to do this?
No. So yeah, no, they love being in the boat. My wife enjoys being in the boat, fishing. She grew up that way too. So we have great family days out there in the boat and, fishing and enjoying the boat ride.
Good. So, love that. How did you and your wife meet?
Well, it's kind of the old thing. She was friends of a friend, technically, is how we met. So the first night I actually met her is back in the day, if you remember, Borrowed Bucks Roadhouse. So that's kind of dating me, but surprisingly, I did meet her the first time at the bar at Borrowed Bucks Roadhouse. So, but it wasn't just a chance meeting. She was a friend of a friend. So, so many years ago now. But
very nice. I love that. Especially the Borrowed Bucks thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know.
If you just leave it at that, just be like, oh, we met at Borrowed Bucks. That leaves a lot of
I got to clear it up a little bit. That it was
So what is your motivation or your why?
Yeah, I mean, just taking care of my family and all the kind of needs that they have. There's a lot of stuff that goes into raising kids and a lot of the needs that they need to be successful. So that's kind of my goal every day, is to try to match what they need and take care of them, and that. So
love that. When you are not at work, you're not fishing, what else do you like to do?
Pretty much if it's a sporting event, I'm watching it or I'm at it. So
do you have a favorite sport?
Football.
Football.
Yep,
okay.
my favorite sport. But I mean, I was watching curling for the Olympics for like 20 hours. I mean, if it was on, I was watching it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. Competition.
I would say you're pretty competitive yourself.
Yep, like to watch competition and that type of thing. So
okay. Favorite football team?
Favorite ultimate football team is the Notre Dame Irish.
Okay.
And then pro team would be the Vikings. Okay. So and then Jackrabbits. I'm not gonna leave them out of them either. So go big blue. So yep.
Love that. Would you say that you're a books guy, a movie guy, or a music guy?
I am a movie guy.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite genre?
I kind of like the adventurous, Indiana Jones kind of, stories of that along those lines.
Okay.
Just adventure. Star Wars, I'm a Star Wars geek too, so I've watched all those. But
do you have one that you go back to and just kind of rewatch as like your comfort movie? Or like you don't get sick of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them out there, like The Great Outdoors. If you've ever seen that movie, no matter what, it seems like I'll sit there and watch that movie. Comedy stuff, kind of some of that stuff is just, it's fun to see it again and laugh again. So
did you play sport? Like you love watching sports. Yep. Did you grow up playing sports too?
Yeah, I pretty much, you name it, I played it. I mean, I wrestled, football, baseball, soccer.
Okay.
Little everything.
A little bit of everything.
Enjoyed it all.
Did you have a favorite to play?
So my favorite to play was basketball.
Okay.
But it was probably the one I was least good at.
Yeah.
As
long as you're having fun.
Yeah, no, I just like the game, And those are the, growing up, it was Michael Jordan, years. So everybody wanted to be like Mike, right?
Yeah.
So.
What is something people don't know about you?
Kind of the one thing that I think is kind of funny about me is I like musicals.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do. So I like, the Sound of Music. I like some of the older movies, Wizard of Oz and different things like that. So kind of a softie when it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Old soul, I guess you would say.
Do you have a favorite musical?
Yeah, it's probably Sound of Music.
Sound of Music?
Because I'm kind of a World War II historian buff guy, so it kind of plays into that. So yeah, I think that would shock a lot of people knowing that.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that.
No, you wouldn't. I bet not.
I just saw The Sound of Music for the first time a couple of years ago. It was my mom's favorite growing up, so she'd always always have it on. I never really paid attention. And then my cousin's daughter was performing in it, and so we went to see it. And I was like, this is actually really good. It
is, and I always tell people, I'm like, it isn't just a musical. It's a historical movie that you got to watch, So, yeah.
Very nice. Were you excited when Wicked became a music or like a movie or?
No, so like I said, I'm old school. So the Wizard of Oz stuff is the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. So that whole Wicked stuff, I couldn't get into it necessarily. Okay. No.
I'm mixing up my movies. That's never mind. I was gonna ask you about Wonka because did you see Wonka when that came out?
No, see, I'm old school, so I don't. They ruin them when they remake some of this stuff. You know what I mean? I know that they're trying to make something different, but I just like the original Willy Wonka stuff.
So like, there's the original Willy Wonka, and then there was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp was good. That was okay.
I didn't like that.
You didn't like that one? Okay, I liked it.
But Wonka was like a prequel.
Oh, is that what it is?
And it's a musical. It's like a comedy musical. I went into it very hesitant because I didn't like the Johnny Depp one. Yep. I took my stepdaughter to it, and I left, and I was like, it was really good. So you might
I'll have to check
add that one to your list. Your daughters might like it. How old's your son? You said
he's 6.
6. He might like it too. Yeah. So add that to your list. Okay. And then we can converse about that one. So when you're like fishing around here, do you have a problem like kind of sharing with people your secrets or does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I want everybody to be successful. So, I mean, if I'm catching fish, I mean, I'll see someone, come on over here, I like to see especially younger kids catch fish, lots of time in the boat when I'm fishing. Sometimes I don't even have a fishing rod. I just let the other 3 or 4 people maybe in my boat. I'll just help them fish and try to stay on the fish. But no, there is no secrets with me. I mean, like I said, I want everybody to enjoy it because I understand I only get to go so many days a year. So, to be able to go fishing and catch fish, that's the goal. Yeah. So, if you got another gentleman that he maybe can only go 4 Saturdays a year, I mean, I want, give them a little secret, tell them where they're at or, what depth or something. Yeah. We're all out here for the same thing. So.
Okay. This is kind of something I noticed as a kid. Like I said, I go to Wisconsin to go fishing with my uncle. And he would always have like the Barbie fishing pole. And for some reason, that dang fishing pole always caught some of the best fish. Is there Is there really like a magic to your fishing pole? Is it just kind of the luck of the game? Like, what is it?
Yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, just different setups, different days of fishing. It's hard to say, like that Barbie pole might have had really like 4-pound test line on it. So the fish were really finicky that day.
Okay.
So that's why that pole was catching fish that day. But yes, I think there's probably some magic. Some days it's just your day.
Okay.
You can sit next to the same guy and you think you're using the same thing and he's catching all the fish and you cannot catch one. Some days it's just your day. So yeah, it's always interesting like that, but yep.
I know that's kind of a random one, but I've seen so many videos too of like
I was gonna say we had one time
it.
when we went to Canada with my dad, and then we always went up with my buddies and their dads, and we had a fishing tournament using Snoopy poles.
Yeah.
And my dad got so mad at us because I paid money to come up here fishing. You guys are using stupid. It was like a 4-hour fishing tournament of who could catch the most fish on their Snoopy poles.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love that.
It was tons of fun, but my dad was not happy. He was just like, you guys are screwing around over here, So.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of fishing tournaments then, or?
I do. I used to do a few more of them, but now it's just so busy with the kids and stuff. So eventually I'd like to get back into, doing a few more tournaments a year. They're kind of fun to compete and the camaraderie of everything. So,
when you're out on the boat, kids aren't necessarily with you. Do you prefer that silence, or do you kind of have some low, quiet music playing, or?
Kind of depends on my mood. I mean, for the most part, I'm a radio guy. I mean, I'll turn on the radio and play my Spotify playlist and kind of jam out. I'm mostly out there to have fun, so I'm not that serious about it, when it comes down to it. So,
Jeff, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for watching this episode of EideCast. Is This Thing On?